On this episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast, we talk about Morbid Angel's Blessed Are the Siach. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Bronze Metalist podcast. I'm Kayle.
I'm OJ.
And we're two professional broadcasters, apparently. And we love to talk about metal.
Yeah.
We love to listen to metal.
Yeah.
So we combine those two things.
Our loves, it's like peanut butter and chocolate. Two great tastes that taste great together.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
And we talk about it and we listen to it.
Mm-hmm.
Although you won't be hearing us listen to that because that'd be a weird format for an audio podcast.
But actually, I think you probably could tackle pieces of it, within the podcast itself, and you'd be okay. You'd be within your rights to do so. I mean,
it's too much work.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I actually thought about that. Why doesn't Kayle? Oh, I know why.
Yeah, that's too much work. Come on. And I'd also have to figure out where's it supposed to go. I don't know.
Right.
In any case, today we're talking about Morbid Angel's Blessed Are the Sick as a part of our favorite month of the year, Death Metal December. It's just a whole month where we listen to death metal albums and talk about
them.
Next week is Chuckmas already.
It is.
Can you believe that?
It's beginning to look a lot like Chuckmas.
It's beginning. What does Chuckmas look like?
Chuckmas looks like death. It looks like
I think Chuckmas just looks like Christmas. It's just the difference is we listen to death.
Right.
That's coming up next week, of course. Excited about that. It's just weird. I had the thought earlier today. Just oh fuck. Next week Tuesday is Christmas Eve. It's not even a week to.
I thought it's on Wednesday. Christmas is on Wednesday.
Christmas is on Wednesday.
Okay, yeah.
My dude.
All right.
Otherwise that would be weird because I told my mom I'd be home for Christmas Eve because I had the day off. But
I'll be home for Chuckmas.
I'll be home for Chuckmas. You can count on me. And the reason you can count on me...
Glad that's over.
The reason you can count on me is because that Gene Hoglan really, he keeps it tight.
He does. He keeps it very tight. He's the atomic clock. He's amazing.
What? Okay, we're talking so much about death, but
I know, but this week we're talking about Morbid Angel.
We only have 1 week out of the year.
Different Florida band.
That we only have 1 week out of the year that we specifically set aside for death, so we got to get some of it out.
Sure.
In other weeks too. How many albums was Gene on?
I feel like he was only on 2 albums.
Because there was kind of a after Spiritual Healing, I want to say. There was he
was on Human,
continuously rotating cast of recording and touring musicians.
Rumor has it because he is hard to get along with a little bit.
Gene Hoglan?
No,
Chuck. I can see that. He's been unfortunately dead for quite some time.
Yeah.
But I can see him being a bit too much of a perfectionist for people to really outside of the band. Everything I've ever read or heard about him seems like he was a very pleasant sort of dude.
Sure, but when it comes to work, he was kind of a hard ass.
I can totally see that. Hey, sometimes that's the best way to make really good music. Being a hard ass. Anyway, how you doing this week?
Holding up pretty well. I mean, I had to burn a couple of days off, so I don't work the next couple of days.
I suppose.
Yeah, you use them or you lose. I'm going to lose a bunch.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but there you have it.
Yeah,
I wish they let us roll them over. They don't.
Yeah, it would be nice, but whatever.
It is what it is.
I don't use. The thing is yes, it would be nice if they let us roll them over, but
we didn't use ones we had.
Yeah, we didn't use the ones we had, so it's not like we used all of them. And it's not like either of us ever need to take 2 weeks off.
No, that'd be nice. But what are we gonna do? I can't afford shit. I can't go anywhere.
Yeah, I would be bored out of my skull probably. It would be like when I worked part-time at the station during the summer. When school wasn't on, I would be so fucking bored
Really?
all day. I'd do nothing all day.
Why?
Because I'm me. Because I have no idea how to structure my free time.
No books, no video games.
I mean,
no
I'd play.
movies?
I'd play video games, and I'd watch movies and stuff. But I would do less of that than I ought to have.
Sure.
Having been someone who worked for a half an hour every day.
Sure.
Which is just ridiculous that I was able to pay rent on that. I had a roommate who was also paying rent, but he wasn't even there during the summer.
Right.
He would pay his summer rent 3 months in advance, basically.
Wow.
And then go back home and work on the farm and do auctioneering all summer. And so I was like alone in our apartment the entire summer.
Wow.
Just desperately trying to stave off. I would stay up till like 4 a.m.
Sure.
And sleep until like 12 or 1 p.m. and
wow.
just get absolutely fucking nothing done. It sounds amazing, but really it was awful. I was fucking miserable.
Speaking of that, I found out an author that I really enjoy has started making new books from an old series that I read a long time ago. Tad Williams' Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn is a fantasy series from the 80s and early 90s. That area has continued the series now. 2017, and now this year there's a new book out, and now I gotta go read those.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's something to do. Hey, speaking of like books and that sort of thing, a famous sci-fi series that recently came out has a new season of television.
Indeed.
That has premiered. The Expanse. If you haven't heard us talk about The Expanse before,
go watch it.
Go watch The Expanse. It's all available. If you've got Amazon Prime, it's all available because it's now owned by Amazon because it was Jeff Bezos' favorite show.
So he said, I'm buying it.
And Sci-Fi canceled it, so he was like, I'm going to buy this. I like this. I'm going to buy it because I can, because I'm Jeff Bezos.
Sure.
And the new season, I think, is fantastic. You haven't finished it because you're wanting to go back and rewatch.
I did. I'm going back to now. The problem that I had, the one problem, because the acting, the dialogue, and the action, the special effect, all of that was great in the show.
Yes.
The problem is that a lot of the talking is like this, and it's sort of buried in the mix, and a lot of times it's done a half in belter language.
Yeah.
And so I have no fucking idea what's going on right now.
I don't know what anyone's saying.
So I'm watching it again, this time with subtitles on.
Yeah.
And now I'm catching things I didn't catch my first go round.
You're picking up on pieces of the plot that you might have missed.
Yes.
It is a very plot-centric show.
Oh, very plot-centric.
It is the whole first season is basically the unraveling of this mystery of what happened to this one particular ship.
And one particular person, really.
Yes, one particular person that was on that ship. What happened to them? It's a science fiction series. Takes place 200 years in the future, roughly, maybe a little bit more. And there's the solar system has been colonized for the most part. And there's kind of 3 main factions. There is Earth and Luna, which is controlled by the United Nations.
Yes.
At the beginning of the series, there's
Luna
also
the moon.
Yes, the moon. There is also, you have to call it Luna there because there's more than just one moon.
Right.
Now
there's other moons that people are living on.
That people live on.
It's not just the moon.
Yeah. And so the United Nations controls those 2 territories. Earth has been ravaged by climate change
and overpopulation.
In New York. There are many shots of New York where you get to see there's a giant dam built around the entire city, basically keeping the water out, and like everything's been built over. Then you have Mars, which is controlled by the Mars Congressional Republic, and they are a very kind of extremely industrial people. Everyone, there's no unemployment. Everyone has a job. Everyone's either working for the military or working to terraform the planet.
Sure, because it's Mars. It's not a place where farming is a big thing.
And if there is any farming, it's in underground domes and that sort of thing. And then you have the Belt, which is basically everything else.
Yeah, like the asteroid belt.
Yeah, the asteroid belt itself and any sort of settlements beyond that on the moons of Saturn, or the moons of Jupiter or anything like that. That is considered the belt territory. And the people who live in the belt are known as belters, and they have developed like their own language, and their bodies have started to change because they've spent their entire lives in microgravity.
Right.
So they're usually tall and thin and they literally cannot stand Earth gravity. It's considered torture to put a belter, to subject a belter to Earth's gravity. It is legally considered torture. And so it's there's these three factions that are just sort of, there's a lot of tensions boiling under the surface, and then this event happens with this ship, and things start to boil over a little bit.
And then there's these central cast members are sort of in the middle of it, and then there's it's like three different stories going on.
Yeah. You have
season.
An old Indian woman who's the most wonderful character ever.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Who is the UN undersecretary, and she is on Earth figuring out things on her end. Then you have a detective on Ceres, which is the largest object in the asteroid belt. It's the capital of the belt. It's the most populous settlement, and Ceres is also the only object in the asteroid belt that is rounded by its own gravity.
Right.
That is large enough to be basically a planet. And then you have the crew of a ship called the Canterbury, which goes to investigate this mysterious distress signal. And the four of them, well, spoilers.
Spoilers.
It's five at the start.
Yeah.
Get far too deep. They get in over their heads extremely quickly. And it's I love this show. It is probably one of the hardest sci-fi shows I've watched, where they stick so closely to physics as we understand it. The only thing that is kind of breaking our current sort of understanding of the way things work is what they call the Epstein drive.
Yes.
That's that is the only like offender. There's no artificial gravity. There's none of that. The only artificial gravity they have is ships that have spinning sections and that sort of thing.
Well, there's also the proto molecule.
Shush. Don't say anything. You heard nothing if you haven't seen it.
Nothing. But yeah, otherwise it would be comically weird. If we're going to travel from Mars to the belt. I mean, then that would be several months of travel.
Yeah. Well, Mars to the belt isn't that far. The asteroid belt is between Mars and Jupiter.
Is it really?
It's not that bad. Yeah.
I was thinking it was farther out.
No, there's the Kuiper belt, which is past. Which is past Pluto even.
The Oort cloud.
That Oort cloud. Yeah. It's way out there.
Yeah.
The Epstein drive. Basically, the only thing that it breaks is it's an extremely efficient fusion drive.
Right.
There's no warp technology. There's nothing like that. It just is really efficient and allows you to not have to worry about fuel quite so much when you're in a big ship.
Yeah.
If you're in a little shuttle that doesn't have an Epstein drive, that becomes a problem. But if you're in a big ship with an Epstein drive, you don't generally have to worry about fuel or anything like that. And ships actually, in order to create artificial gravity, will continuously accelerate at 1G.
Right.
That's how they create artificial gravity, is just you're constantly accelerating, and your own, the Newton's laws basically create
gravity.
A simulacrum of gravity, essentially.
You keep saying Epstein drive, and I know you won't get this, but
well, I'm just thinking Jeffrey Epstein now.
I'm thinking Epstein from...
that guy who didn't kill himself.
Yeah. I was thinking Epstein from Welcome Back, Kotter. So you turn on the Epstein drive and it goes, oh. But...
that's a reference I don't get, unfortunately.
You're a bit young for that.
I'm a bit young.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm so happy with the new season. I binged all of it. It came out on Thursday. I thought it was going to be later. I think it was
supposed
Thursday.
to be on Friday. It was set to come out on the 13th, but it somehow came out the evening before.
Yeah, it came out earlier, and so I started watching it and finished all of it by Saturday and was going, now what do I do? I wish they had kind of done it week by week, the way they're doing like the grand tour and that sort of thing. Where and it would have been nice for the community as well. Like the Reddit community is like, here's one episode. We all get to talk about and analyze this episode for a week. Then another episode comes out.
Yeah.
But now the subreddit is kind of a mess because it's just all of the episodes, and it's hard to they've been very, very good about avoiding spoilers, but it's
Still hard to navigate a bit.
It's hard to navigate in like finding a discussion about a particular moment in a particular episode because all of them are out.
Sure.
So that can be tough, but yeah, I adore this show. It is fantastic. I really, really, really like this show. And at some point, I should read the books. It's a big, long series of books written by James S.A. Corey, which is actually two people.
Yeah.
Ty Frank and Daniel Abraham, one of whom, I don't remember whom, one of whom was actually the personal assistant to George R.R. Martin for a while. And they collaborate to write these books, and I believe book number 9 or 10 is coming out sometime within the next year.
And it's going to end with...
Yes, that is the last book in the series that's going to be coming out. So it has an end. We know it's going to end. Hopefully we don't ever and that ending is coming soon, and the show is not progressing at such a pace that the show is going to overtake the book series, and then you end up with Game of Thrones.
Yeah, speaking of George R.R. Martin,
5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So I'm very hopeful for. It's already been renewed for season 5. Before 4 even came out, it was renewed for season 5. I mean, it doesn't hurt that. I was about to say Jeffrey Epstein. It doesn't hurt that Jeff Bezos can just be like, yes, I want more. Yes. I want more of that, please. Thank you.
Because he has $110,000 million.
Yes. Jeffrey Epstein has fuck it, I do what I want money.
You said it again.
Did I say Jeffrey Epstein? God damn it. I'm not trying to insinuate that Jeff Bezos is Jeffrey Epstein.
No.
Jeff Bezos' crimes are of a different nature.
Yes. I mean, he could have lots of underage girls if he wanted them. He could afford it, I suppose.
I'm sure. No.
Hopefully no. Hopefully he's not doing
hopefully
that.
Not. No. Jeff Bezos' crimes are all of, a proletariat nature.
Yeah.
his crimes against the workers. Anyway. That's what I did with my weekend, basically. And I'm happy I did that. I had fun.
Awesome.
It was good. So tonight, we're drinking beer. we're drinking beer as opposed to last week where we drank alcoholic chocolate milk.
Yeah, which is good.
It was very good. What did your wife think of it, by the way?
She enjoyed it. She said it was pretty good.
That's good. That's good. It's good.
We put it in coffee. It was very nice.
No, I imagine so, yeah. That would actually be a very good combo. But tonight we've got Samuel Adams Winter Lager, which I thought was a good choice because we're in the grip of winter, although today was very warm.
It was. And winter is technically not here yet.
Technically not. It's North Dakota.
Calendar winter's not here.
Calendar winter for, I guess, Florida isn't here. I don't know who the fuck that calendar is calibrated for.
I don't know.
I guess probably Europe, I guess, because, the UK is much warmer because of ocean currents and whatnot, even though they're further north than we are.
They start the winter on the solstice. I mean,
I guess. Yep.
That's Saturday. Not much is going on with me right now.
How much is what?
Not much is going on with me right now.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, we have a dresser sitting in our kitchen that's been there for 3 weeks.
You still have
we haven't moved it yet.
That's your next thing. The Christmas tree got put up.
Yeah, it did.
So now do the dresser.
Yeah.
Do the dresser.
All right, that's enough.
Oh, come on. Yeah. I had a thought that popped into my brain. Oh, because you said solstice.
Yeah.
I was thinking that they should make a movie called Midwinter.
Midwinter?
Where it's just midsummer, but there's snow.
Sure.
It's the movie Midsummer, but there's snow. That's the only difference.
Nobody goes outside.
Yeah. There's no. Well, I mean, they still go outside. It's in Sweden. They don't give a shit.
No.
They don't give a shit about some snow. It's fucking Sweden. Come on.
Sure. That's what they do.
That's all they do in Sweden is snow. That's what they're famous for. Okay, Morbid Angel?
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Morbid Angel?
Let's talk about Morbid Angel.
All right, so we listened to Blessed Are the Siach.
Their sophomore album.
Sophomore.
Yes.
album.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Well, that's enough. Have a good night, folks. And
I already had a glass of whiskey before we started recording. You need to take the lead a little bit.
All right, I will do. I got this album when it first came out back in 1991 when I was 17 years old, and loved it. I owned it on CD immediately. I got this one before I got Altars of Madness, which is their first album, their debut album. Yeah. This one is a lot less intense than their first album.
Really?
Yeah. But
what did their first album sound like then?
You should give it a spin. I
guess
recommend
I should, yeah.
But yeah, they spent more. There was more chugging on this one.
Yeah.
Than there was in the first one.
This was a pretty clean recording.
Well, yeah.
For 1991 death metal that wasn't death.
Yeah.
It was a pretty clean. Because if you listen to like early Cannibal Corpse stuff, or like Suffocation, or like a lot of the bands that are still around, like Morbid Angel is. Their recordings from that same year are all going to be much, much dirtier. And this was pretty well produced. I think some of the performance from the band was a little loose. It's not instrumentally as tight as it could have been.
Right. I mean, there's some really tight spots in there that they're pretty amazing.
And there are some other spots though where it's kind of like, oh, that seemed a little offbeat. But generally speaking, it's an extremely well put together album, very well recorded. It sounds very good for its age, and considering it didn't have Chuck Schuldiner behind it to go. No, I think that we need to redo that part.
Right, I feel like Trey is Agthoth though.
What's his birth name?
It's George Emmanuel III. Is the name he was given at birth.
Really?
George Emmanuel III.
Wow.
Yeah.
Those are polar opposite names.
Yeah, they are.
Like you hear Trey.
Yeah.
You're like, all right, kind of a dude bro type of thing.
Yeah.
Sup, Trey?
But then we hit a Zagthoth.
And it's like, ooh, that's evil.
That? Yeah.
That's evil sounding. But what was it again?
George Emmanuel III.
George Emmanuel III. I'm George Emmanuel III. Here is my death metal song.
Here's another one about Satan.
Which is, Satanism is a big theme on this one, which wasn't really a huge part of early death metal, and kind of has never really been a huge part of death metal, generally speaking. Death metal usually focuses on, gore
and or politics.
Yeah, it's either gore and violence or politics.
Yeah,
usually, or both sometimes. So yeah, it's interesting that this was kind of that was the subject matter on a lot of their early albums that David Vincent was the vocalist for.
Right.
Was the
bass player
the
and the
subject.
vocalist. Yeah.
And I was reading that like a lot of black metal bands that would come after Mayhem. I mean, Mayhem was probably biggest inspiration, but after that, a lot of people would say Morbid Angel and that sort of thing.
Right.
And I sort of makes sense for early black metal. But then a lot of death metal bands as well were very inspired by Morbid Angel going forward. Gorguts was claimed to be on the Wikipedia page a band that was inspired by them. Although I think, 1991, I think Gorguts was already around.
Well, that was this album. Their first album was 89?
Yeah, I imagine so. I imagine so.
Oh, quite so, George Emmanuel III.
So they're kind of considered one of the. I mean, they didn't create death metal.
No,
not like not like Death or what's the other one? Is it Possessed?
Possessed.
Yeah,
Possessed really is more thrash metal.
Yeah, but like Death is kind of the first one people can point to and be like, all right, that's Scream Bloody Gore is the first one people can point to and be like, this is death metal.
Right.
But a lot of people say Morbid Angel is kind of the first band as a whole that people can point to and say, this is a death metal band. It was founded as a death metal band and has remained a death metal band throughout the entirety of its discography. It's kind of like it's the first if Death is the prototype, Morbid Angel is the is Generation 1 finished product.
Sure, yeah.
Coming out of the factory, and has continued and remains to be I believe, at least for the SoundScan era, as it's called, I believe the second best selling death metal band in history after Cannibal Corpse. Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise, right.
But they've enjoyed for a death metal band anyway, they've enjoyed quite a bit of success.
Of course, David Vincent has moved on since.
Yes, several times actually. Yeah, he moved on once, and then came back for like 13 years, I think, and then moved on again to. He still has a death metal band, I think, but he is also doing like country.
Yeah, he's doing a sort of a Western thing. And he's drinking with the devil and stuff like that. It's still sort of devil themed, but I mean,
it's spooky country apparently. Or sort of kind of. I don't know how I would describe that theme, but there's been country like that before.
Sure.
Gothic country. Could you call it that?
Goth country.
Goth country. Slightly harder rockabilly, something like that. But that's what David Vincent's doing.
Yeah.
Trey Azagthoth.
Azagthoth. Yeah.
Azagthoth.
Yeah.
That's how you actually pronounce it.
Yeah.
Yes. He is. He's still the guy in charge.
Back when I was a teenager, my friend Scott and I used to listen to this.
Your friend Scott Ian.
Not Scott Ian. Scotty and me. Who's in a band called Anthrax.
Yeah.
We used to sit in his mom's basement and listen to this Christian radio show on the weekend, and Trey Azagthoth would call. That was the reason we were listening. When's he gonna call in?
When's he gonna chime in?
Yeah, and he would just say weird, off the wall, evil shit on this.
How did the hosts react to him?
Well, he would engage him. It was try to have the conversation. Good and evil. And
after a certain point where they just like, oh, we're getting a call. Looks like Trey's on the line. How you doing, Trey? See, I would love to think that there was like a sort of a somewhat adversarial, but like what you would call a platonic tension.
Sure.
Where it's definitely kind of adversarial, but there's a friendliness to it. You're on different sides. But,
sure.
But God, he's that cheeky Trey. He's calling in.
Right. They're like the coyote and the sheepdog.
Yeah.
In the Warner Brothers cartoon.
Yes.
Hey Sam. Hey.
Something like
they're
that.
Hitting the punch card and
what I'm thinking of is. Because I'm a giant nerd.
Yeah.
I think of Yarrick and Gazkul from Warhammer 40K. Although there's not really like a platonic tension suggests that maybe they would be friends if it weren't for this one thing. Gazkul maybe could be friends with Yarrick. Yarrick would never be friends with Gazkul. That old man wants to kill that orc so fucking bad. Whereas I think Gazkul's just going, oh, it's the old man again. Why is he shooting at me? Basically.
Yeah.
But that sort of thing.
I feel like you need to know about Warhammer, more about Warhammer.
I feel like you need to know more about Warhammer? Don't tempt me with that shit, because I'm going to talk for fucking hours. Don't do that research on your own time.
No.
You should know by now.
I'll get some books.
You should
I'll read them at a regular human pace.
Yeah. You should know by now not to ask me any questions about Warhammer. That's a very deep rabbit hole you don't want to go down. It's the same thing with a Halo. Don't ask me questions about Halo either.
You mean the little oranges?
Yeah, those little oranges.
Yeah.
I thought those were clementines.
Well, they're halos or they're cuties, but they're all, I think, just clementines. I think it's brand names.
Kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm thinking of the little girl from the Walking Dead Telltale games. Although I think I guess I never played past midway through season 2, so I know she gets older.
Mm-hmm.
She's not a little girl anymore. But those were good games.
Good games?
Yeah. Or a good game because it was episodic content. It was good. I liked it. Season 1 is really, really good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Morbid Angel.
Morbid Angel. They're from Florida.
They're from Florida. Yeah, part of the Florida death metal tradition.
Right.
What is it about Florida, do you think, that creates so many death metal bands?
I don't know. I have a feeling it's somehow tied to Florida Man. I feel that might be somewhat. Florida Man takes rock and roll to a ridiculous new level.
Florida Man sets own home on fire and tries to burglarize his neighbor. Yeah. Flamethrower canisters explode along with thousands of rounds of ammunition. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Pat.
You lovable meth head. Good old Pat Sheridan. I almost forgot about that.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, that's so
it was
weird.
so fucking wild when that happened. Pat Sheridan is kind of, well, not, yeah, he's kind of the epitome of Florida Man. The only way it could have been better is if it was bath salts instead of meth. Bath salts is such a Florida drug.
Yeah, it is. I don't even understand how you ingest it. Do you shoot it up? Do you drink it? What do you do with it?
I'm not sure. I don't really know precisely what it is.
Uh-huh.
I think it might be kind of in the vein of crocodile, where it's shitty heroin or something like.
Sure.
Basically, they call it bath salts because people would sell it in bath salt tins.
Uh-huh.
Essentially, it's not actually like a.
That's something you put in the tub.
Yeah, it's not a salt or anything. It's like a designer drug of some kind, where it might be like shitty heroin or something.
So
like
maybe
that.
that's what we should do for Chuckmas. Do bath salts.
Find some bath salts. Yeah. Go eat somebody's face.
Yeah, why not?
Come back. Talk about spiritual healing.
Yeah.
After we've bit that dude's face off, he's gonna need some spiritual healing
or some kind of healing.
along with some real healing.
Yeah, some plastic surgery.
A little bit of facial reconstruction, maybe a face transplant. Those are a thing that happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like the woman with the chimpanzee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was horrible.
Terrible.
Horrifying, man.
Tore her face off.
We got to be careful. We're getting into Joe Rogan territory here.
Are we?
If we start talking about chimpanzees. Hey, Mike, bring up that picture of that hairless chimp again. Look how fucking jacked he is. Anyway. So Morbid Angel.
Morbid Angel.
They're from Florida. I neglected to do any sort of note taking.
Any note
as far as like what's the score? I don't know.
You don't
Probably high because this is a classic.
It is a classic. I'll bet it's in the upper 80s range.
Probably.
Yeah.
I bet.
But let's just assume.
You know what? 97.
Oh man,
it's probably a 97 or something like that. Do you know generally how this album has been received over time?
It was received well at the time. I remember it was popular enough to where I was living in Minot, North Dakota, and I think Columbia House was offering it to me.
Interesting. Yeah. Columbia House.
Okay, there used to be this thing where and Columbia House wanted to sign up as many people as they could, but they had just this catalog of compact discs that you could order. This is before you could get digital music.
I see. I've heard of these CDs.
Yeah, and they would send you, and they would see, okay, you're into rap, or you're into country, or you're into heavy metal. Obviously, this side I was into heavy metal.
So they would send you a selection.
Yeah, they would say, you can pick from these, and you could also, be signed up for the thing of the month, and they would send you a CD and then expect you to pay for it, even though you forgot to cancel your membership.
I see.
But you got these 12 albums for free for signing up. And so they would send you these 12 CDs. It's like, fucking A. And then they would over time bill you for all this shit that they were sending you. Hey, it's $15 for this goddamn CD that you didn't order. And it's a lot of times I just keep them and pay it. But then, you remember, I got to cancel this damn thing. I got my 12 free CDs as soon as I signed up.
Could you send some of them back, maybe?
You
if
could
you didn't
send
want to pay
them back. But they were counting on you to be kind of lazy.
Yeah, and I imagine.
And just say, I'll pay it here. It's a check.
May as well. this wasn't bad, I guess. Here you go.
Yeah, I'm in the heavy metal category, and you sent me the new Yes album, but it's a good album. So
It's
I'm
a
just gonna
fucking
keep
bop, so why not?
fine,
This
yeah.
shit slaps, dude. Summer jams. Let's get it going.
Let's move it on, man. Let's do it. Yeah, but so I remember, man, Columbia House. I got all sorts of shit that I listened to like once. I gave it a spin, because it's on the right record and it's on the list of stuff, the right label. It's on the list
This
of
is
other
from
heavy
Roadrunner.
metals.
I'll listen to it.
Sure. What the fuck is this? I remember it was a band called Mordred.
Mordred.
Yeah, they were early.
That sounds like a power metal band.
Nope. They were early funk thrash.
Say, one more time. Run that by me.
Funk thrash. It was sort of almost thrash metal, but it was really, really funky. And I remember they sent me that album, and I had that.
I'm desperately trying to create a profile in my mind of what that would sound like, and I've got fucking nothing.
Yeah. We'll have to give it a spin here a little bit.
What the hell?
They sent me that. They sent me Malaya Rage. Was a band. They were a New York power metal band.
Okay.
And that was actually pretty good. I enjoyed that. I went back and I listened to that again here recently. Went, I can see why people kind of like this.
All right.
It was good.
Do you think in like 10 years, 20 years maybe, people are going to be CD nerds?
Maybe.
The way that you've got vinyl
I
nerds?
feel that that's not going to be there's not enough of a reason to be nostalgic about CDs.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the warmth or the large artwork or the,
because something has to be compressed.
Yeah.
When you put it on a CD, you gotta compress it to put it on a CD.
Indeed, it's CD compression.
Yeah, and it's you're gonna lose some quality there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
But CD is better compression than MP3.
yes, but people get a collector mindset about the weirdest shit. So
Yeah.
I mean, there are already people who have been collecting CDs since CDs were a thing.
I know there are cassette people.
Yeah, that I mean, most
I
of
have
those
a few of those.
Most of those are punks.
Yeah.
I think cassettes are a big thing in today's punk scenes.
Right, because that's the only way you could get it back in.
Yeah.
Because there was a punk scene here in Minot.
Oh yeah,
It was a big punk scene, and they were all friends.
yeah. Why not?
Good guys, yeah.
Why wouldn't you be friends, man? I mean, there was also, as you tell me, a black circle in Minot, though.
Kinda, yeah.
Kind of a black circle, except instead of, because you guys had easy access to a stave church you could have burned down, but
Sure.
instead of doing that, you just kind of sat around and drank beer and smoked weed.
Well,
You didn't have a Varg to take things too far,
no, we didn't.
thankfully.
I think there might have been some graffiti. There might have been some of that.
Oh, you monsters!
Yeah, we might have set off some fireworks in a place where we shouldn't have.
How could you?
Yeah.
I mean, that could have accidentally resulted in something being burned down.
Sure, it could have, yeah.
But it didn't, so there we go. As far as we know.
As far as we know, I remember going back and that dental hygienist's office was still there the next day. So we were cool.
Wait, it was a dental hygienist's office.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a dentist's office.
No, it wasn't a dentistry.
This was
it was an independent dental hygienist.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I was, yeah.
Is
It's
that
really not a thing anymore. You're gonna find one sort of a symbiotic relationship in there, but
Yeah, because normally it's dentist and they have dental hygienists that work for them.
yes, but you could go in those places where you can go just get a cleaning.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's neat, though. That's pretty neat.
Right.
It's kind of like it. To me, it's the same thing as saying like, oh, we burnt down that nurse's clinic,
Sure.
where it's just, there's no
That was a thing.
There's no doctors in the building. It's just a nurse.
In fact,
I guess
that's still a thing.
I guess rural clinics are the top person will be a nurse practitioner, but in rural parts of the country and the world.
I actually go to a nurse practitioner's office every.
Well, yeah, they're extremely
Every
good
month.
at what they do.
Yeah.
They get paid a lot of money for it.
Well, I know. Yeah, she just prescribes me drugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. She looked the last time I went there. She looked at my charts and she says, "This says you're on ketamine."
Oh, wait, what?
I said, no, no,
Nope.
I am not. She said, that's got to be a misprint or something.
How the fuck did ketamine end up on there?
I don't know.
God damn.
So she kept joking about it for the rest of the visit. She said, well, I want to try you this for that anxiety that you're having.
It won't mix well with your ketamine.
It won't mix well with your ketamine. Yeah.
God damn. Well, I mean, for the longest time, before chemo kind of messed up his blood for a while, whenever my dad would go in an attempt to donate blood, they would tell him he tested positive for, I think, Hep C.
Really?
And he's like, I don't have Hep C. I've been to the doctor many, many, many other times.
Mine is type B.
I don't have Hep C. I have Hep B.
Yeah.
But or it was hepatitis something. It was one of them. And they kept, he would always, get the quick test. And they'd be like, yeah, it's coming back positive for hepatitis. It's like, I don't have that. I've been to the doctor so many times. I've had surgeries. I've had all this stuff. Nobody's ever told me I have hepatitis. But they would turn him away because apparently they thought he had hepatitis. And then he went through chemotherapy, and that fucks up your blood
forever,
for years, basically. I don't know if it's forever.
Isn't it forever?
It's for a while. It's at least 5 years or something. I don't remember what we were talking about.
Morbid Angel.
In concept, yes, we were talking about Morbid Angel. We were talking about something else though. But anyway, we were talking about nurse practitioners.
Oh, sure.
Being in charge of clinics. A nurse practitioner, if you put it in military terms, a nurse practitioner is kind of like a warrant officer.
Sure.
Right, where there's sort of this weird nebulous rank that's in between enlisted and
an officer
and commissioned officer.
Yeah.
They're sort of this weird middle rank that doesn't always exist. It's not always there.
Right.
You're not always going to be somewhere and there's a nurse practitioner. That's just a thought that popped into my head.
It's pretty neat
for any people involved in the military who aren't familiar with how nurse practitioners work. For some reason.
My nurse practitioner's office is right by the tracks. And she's in her office so often that it doesn't bother her, but I'll be sitting in there. And when I say right by the tracks, I mean you could open her window and grab a hold of the train as it's going by. And so she'll be sitting there, she'll be talking just casually. Suddenly, all this shit is shaking off her walls and everything. And all the pictures are kind of falling over. No, it's just Burlington Northern going by.
I suppose. Speaking of like earthquakes, when you lived in the Philippines, was that a regular occurrence?
It was. Yeah, you'd have earthquakes. I also lived in Southern California.
That too,
earthquakes there as well.
Yeah. Less volcanoes in Southern California, though.
Less volcanoes, yeah. Definitely. I mean, there was one that sort of affected us while I was living there.
In Southern California?
It was in Washington.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that one affected North Dakota.
Yeah.
That one affected a lot of the country.
Mm-hmm.
At least that was your volcano experience in the early 80s instead of Pinatubo.
Yeah, because we left before that happened.
Yeah. That was like a year after you guys left?
Yeah, we left in 89.
God.
Pinatubo erupted in
Pinatubo
90 or 91, maybe.
Pinatubo was not that far from where you guys were living,
No,
right?
it was not.
You guys,
it was on Luzon.
Didn't you say you guys could see it, or you could see a volcano?
I think we could see Pinatubo off in the distance.
That's scary though.
Yeah,
volcanoes scare me. I love mountains. Don't like the fire mountains.
Don't like the fire mountains.
Fire mountain bad. Fire mountain bad.
So if you saw fire on the mountain and lightning in the air, you wouldn't think there's gold in them hills, and it's waiting for me there.
Probably. Well, I'm not a prospector, so I would probably not think of that.
Okay, good.
And if I saw a fire coming out of a mountain, I'd be like, get away from that mountain. And if I saw lightning in the air, probably just go inside.
Yeah, sure.
Go inside my house and
But fire on the mountain and lightning in the air. That's an actual thing.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
volcanic lightning.
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. That and like sandstorm lightning is also a thing. Because there's so much particulate matter in the air, and it's so dry that it's creating so much static electricity.
Sure.
That you can get lightning strikes, which is terrifying.
That's great.
It's like that awesome scene in Mad Max Also, it's funny that we were talking about that because I've got my Blu-ray collection of Mad Max just sitting out
The
over
anthology
there that I haven't put away since I watched it watched Fury Road last December, trying to match it up with Gojira. Trying to match it up with From Mars to Sirius,
which it didn't really
work. Didn't really work out that well.
I remember going to record stores and seeing so many bands that had an album called Anthology, thinking, why are all these bands naming their album Anthology? Oh, I get it. It's a best of.
It's a best of, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite song in this album?
What was the last full song?
The last full, not the last song that we came out of, the piano number.
Yeah, the last full song.
The last full song is The Ancient Ones.
I thought that one was pretty sick.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of, I mean, generally speaking, there's a lot of tempo changes. There's, I mean, they're all over the place. This is not a meat and potatoes death metal band.
No, they changed it up, and they do a lot of stuff like In Remembrance and what else we got? Doomsday Celebration? Yeah.
What was the little acoustic guitar break that they had too? I haven't.
Desolate Ways is the name of that song.
Yeah, like I have not heard many death metal bands from that period do anything slower than do anything acoustic or slow. And that was, I liked that.
Yeah, it was a nice little break. It was like an intermission almost.
Yeah, a little palate cleanser.
Yeah,
just like, hey, we can be slow and thoughtful too, man. And then Opeth came out and married the two things together.
Sure.
Of course, there is Voice of the Soul, but that would be 1999 with Death, which I imagine we'll probably be talking about Sound of Perseverance in like 4 years. We'll get to Sound of Perseverance because I feel like the last Death album that we can review has got to be Scream Bloody Gore. Like
we've already reviewed that.
No, we haven't.
Oh, we did Leprosy.
We did Leprosy last year. So yeah, we'll leave Scream Bloody Gore for the last. Sure. I think that's gotta be. The first shall also be the last.
In 4 years. That's not. Thanks, man. You think I'm gonna live another 4 years?
Sure you are.
Sure.
Sure you are.
I don't say I would. I got a lot of weird medical things happening.
I mean, you're 45.
Yeah.
Weird medical things start happening.
Yeah.
That's how life goes, bro.
I mean, one of those things has to do with my umbilical cord.
Yeah.
I have to have my umbilical cord fixed.
That's because you've been eating a lot, my dude.
Well, yeah, that's true. I ate a lot at lunch today.
What did you have for lunch?
I had a big noodle bowl, and then I had a big sack of popcorn, and then I had several cookies.
I did notice the big bag of popcorn, too. Yeah. Normally, that's a morning treat for you.
Right, but I didn't have it. I went out at lunch, and I replenished my bag of popcorn supply.
How many bags of popcorn do you have at work?
Right now, 11.
My goodness. I don't have any snacks at work.
No?
I had a box of Cheez-Its that I neglected to eat anything out of for about 3 months.
I ate most of them.
Yeah.
Anytime you went to your desk, I'm like reaching over, Cheez-Its.
Honestly, I don't know how to snack.
No?
I've never been much of a, at least, I don't know about never, but at least in my adult life, I'm not a snacker. No, generally
you just
speaking.
eat meals, and when you're not eating meals, you're not dedicating your time to food.
Generally speaking, if I'm consuming anything, it's usually alcohol.
Sure.
If it's not a meal and I'm consuming something, it's alcohol or it's Oreos. Which one of those is better?
Well, they both reduce stress, I suppose, to some extent.
I suppose, yeah. Yeah. Alcohol. What if we took that rum we had last week? Oreos.
An Oreo liqueur.
Okay, now you kind of ruined it.
Why?
I'm thinking about the rum we had last week. You dip an Oreo in it.
Oh,
I'm not thinking about making, because I've had birthday cake, fucking vodka. What's the company that makes all the shitty flavor? UV.
UV, right?
That was the worst fucking thing I've ever drank. it was just a shooter. It was like, this is the worst thing ever, because we were on the party bus going from my oldest sister's wedding to from Washburn to Mercer. And I was underage at the time, but they were passing around some shooters, and that's the one I got handed because they just had a handful of them. And I drank that, and it was so disgusting. And I managed to very quickly snarf down a Jack and Coke while we stopped at a bar that they let me into because it's Mercer, North Dakota.
Sure.
And there's 10 people that live there.
That's how small town bars are.
Basically, yeah, they don't give a shit.
No.
They had a Touch Tunes player, though. The bar in Mercer is very nice, actually.
Nice.
It's all like wood paneling on the inside. It's a really nice bar for a little town like that. But yeah, I snarfed down a Jack and Coke, and then
to clean that away.
Yeah, to wash away the UV birthday cake, and didn't really drink much the rest of the night because I felt awkward because there were police officers at the dance as security.
Yeah,
because that's a thing. I don't know if this is a thing elsewhere, but in like small towns, you can ask like the police, be like, "Hey, do you want to make sure people don't get fucking stupid?
Here's $100."
Yeah, it's. I mean, you're not bribing or anything.
No, you're not. You're paying them to do a service that they're qualified to do.
Exactly, but like you don't want to hire a security guard or whatever.
Right.
It depends on the venue, I guess. I think because a lot of small town wedding receptions happen at like on public property.
Sure.
I think that's part of it.
Like the town hall.
Yeah. I feel like if you were at, a piece of private property, the owners of that property might require you to hire, a different method of security. Like, hey, we have a bouncer. His name is Dave. Dave would be like, hi.
Because that's what Daves do.
Hi, I'm Dave. I'm your Maori New Zealand bouncer. They all sound like Korg. I need to work on my Kiwi.
Yeah. Just listen to a lot of stuff that's spoken by
Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. And I got really good at it after I watched Boy and What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Wilder People. All are 3 fantastic movies.
You could also probably do it just to some extent with Thor Ragnarok.
I still haven't watched Thor Ragnarok.
You've never watched Thor Ragnarok?
I have it on Blu-ray. It's sitting.
You own it on Blu-ray and you haven't watched it. That is one of my top 5 Marvel movies.
I know. I know I need to watch it for some reason. It's got so many things I like, right? Taika Waititi, he's the director. Also, he's a big funny rock monster.
Yeah.
You got Chris Hemsworth being his funniest as Thor. You got
Jeff Goldblum in there.
Jeff Goldblum is in there, and you got Cate Blanchett being a hot goth, which is like
win-win.
It's exactly my fucking thing. So I don't know why. Oh, and Carl Urban
is great in it.
Carl Urban is. Behold my stuff.
Yeah.
Like I've seen the memes. I just haven't watched the fucking movie for some reason. I don't know. I have no good reason. You know what? I got a couple of days off coming up. I should.
You don't need a couple of days off.
See, this
you
is
need
how
like an hour and 30 minutes.
We talked about how bad I am at managing my own free time, OJ.
A couple of days off to watch a movie.
Basically, yeah. Because otherwise, I'm just going to sit on Reddit all day.
Sure.
And refresh the page.
I don't even know how to log into my Reddit account. I have one, but I don't.
Just make a new one.
I don't know.
Just make a new one and leave it logged in.
The more you talk about it.
Just literally all, because you get to choose what you want to see.
Sure.
So just subscribe to a bunch of metal pages and a bunch of pages with fucking cute dogs on them.
Yeah.
I culled all of the subreddits that I thought were shitty, all the toxic ones, and now I've got wholesome memes and rare doggos, rare puppers or whatever. I'm not
the chunky ones. Do you have any chunky animals?
Absolute units.
Yeah.
Which is mostly overweight cats, which I kind of feel a little bad about.
Because that's unhealthy.
Yeah, that's unhealthy, but there is also the Chonkers subreddit.
For animals.
It's mostly overweight cats.
Right.
Again. Because I don't know why overweight cats are cute.
They are. Yeah, I remember I knew a guy who was actually, it was my friend's stepdad or something like that. And we went over to his house and I walked in the door. First thing the man ever said to me was, "You want to see my 16-pound dick?" I said,
I mean,
his cat's name was Dick, and it was 16 pounds.
You know what? Regardless of whatever the context for that was, if someone said, "You want to see my 16-pound dick," and it was either a fat cat or creature of some type, or he had a penis that weighed 16 pounds, I'd probably want to see that just out of curiosity.
Just out of sort of a morbid curiosity.
Like, how the... Wow.
What do you do? How did that happen?
How does that even work?
How do you walk?
Your poor wife. You have children. How did that happen? Yeah, I'd have to see.
Sure.
But yeah, it was a big fat cat.
It was a big fat cat.
I guess depending upon the frame of the cat, 16 pounds is not actually a whole lot. Was this a particularly fat cat?
It was a fat cat. It was
probably smaller frame, because we had a cat that was very attached to me for quite some time. An old cat that had always been fat, and she was a very small framed cat. So the heaviest she ever was probably about 16 pounds. She was pretty chonky, but compared to like a 16-pound Maine Coon is probably just an average-sized Maine Coon.
Yeah,
they're very large cats.
I just every time you say that, I know you're not
big fluffy Maine cat.
Yeah,
there you go. You're the one who's making it weird.
No, okay.
You're the one who's reading racist stuff into it.
You don't know my history, man.
I know some of it. At any rate, they're big cats. They're big fluffy cats.
Yeah.
But that's probably average weight for a cat.
Sure.
That size. I once saw at my buddy Xander's house. We were playing a Star Wars RPG at his place, and there was just the neighborhood cat down there waddling around.
Sure.
This was a fairly big framed cat, and it was the fattest cat I've ever seen in my life.
Sure.
This was on the chonk scale. This was a "Oh Lord, he coming."
Oh Lord, he coming.
Oh Lord, he coming. He just waddling around, and he flopped over onto the concrete of the driveway and just kind of flopped over and just sort of spread out like a liquid.
It's a little liquid carpet.
This cat was so fat. It was not their cat, just a neighborhood cat that hung around that was extremely fat. And as far as I can understand, was mostly an outside cat, which generally outside cats are usually not obese,
because you have to be kind of active. You got to stay light on your feet. You got to be nimble.
Either that, or he was an outside cat, where it's like it's summertime, we're letting him out to wander around. But even then, clearly did not get very much exercise. My God, the cat was so fat.
Maybe he just survived on being the biggest guy in the yard.
The other cats would bring him food as tribute. Yeah. He's like Jabba the Hutt. He's so the other cats would attack him, but he was so fat that their attacks would do nothing. He'd just kind of hide his face, and they wouldn't do any damage, and he wouldn't move. So obviously, he won the fight.
Right. He was Kingpin.
He's Kingpin from Into the Spider-Verse. Just this big, huge, unwieldy dude. It's so astonishingly obese. It was the Daniel. What was that fat English guy you told me?
Daniel Lambert. Yeah.
Daniel Lambert.
Yeah. If you're listening to this and you want to kill like 10 minutes, look up Daniel Lambert on Wikipedia.
Read about the life of Daniel Lambert. Extremely interesting man. It became the world's heaviest known man, and
at the time,
at the late 1700s, early 1800s. Was the heaviest man in the world, and was not always that way. At one point was a very fit, very active, very athletic man.
Sure. But even when he was really fat, he could still kind of do some stuff you wouldn't think a guy his size could do.
Yeah, he was active. Even at 700 pounds, he claimed he could walk like a quarter of a mile without getting winded, which is something I feel like I can't do. So, yeah, it's a very fascinating read. We've gotten so far off topic. It's kind of my fault because I didn't write anything down. That's
fine.
But yeah, I was having a night. But
well, here we are.
Yeah.
Final thoughts.
I think I kind of have to give it a silver.
Mm-hmm.
I liked this, but it didn't. It wasn't a. I wasn't super drawn to it.
Right.
But it's hard to say because we've come off of the back of like 5 solid weeks of stuff that has except for Celtic Frost.
Sure.
But like the last couple of months, we've had a lot of albums that I've been really excited to listen to.
Sure. See, this was very exciting for me.
I'm sure it was.
And in context, I have to give it a gold because it definitely was a gold. It's something that it was a turn on for me. It was like, what is this? It changed my mind.
It changed your mind and changed your life.
Was
this one of the? Had you listened to much death metal before?
At this point, not really. Not a lot. I had heard Death already. I think I already had Spiritual Healing on CD.
Okay.
And I think I got Leprosy, the album, and then I think about the same time I got Obituary. Obituary came out.
You're kind of getting into it.
Slowly We Rot and Cause of Death. Those were great albums. Yeah. So there you go.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Meow. Anyhow, so next week we are concluding Death Metal December.
We are
with everyone's favorite holiday, Chuckmas, celebrating the life of Chuck Schuldiner and the fantastic music he made. We're talking about Spiritual Healing from 1990.
No.
3.
No.
2.
I think it was 1990. I think it was 1990 or
1990?
Maybe. Yeah.
I think Leprosy was 91.
Was it?
I think it was. I think Leprosy came out in 91. I don't know.
I think Leprosy came out in the 80s, I feel like.
Are you sure? We're about to find out.
ALBUM. It came out in 1990.
Okay.
February 16th, 1990.
I guess I'm wrong. I don't know what that voice was. Okay.
I know.
So I'm
a little boy.
Anyway.
I'm not going to rape you.
John Mulaney joke, everyone.
Yeah.
And anyway, we're going to be talking about Spiritual Healing next week. I promise I'll be more coherent for next week. It's Chuckmas.
It is.
How can I not be coherent and ready to go for motherfucking Chuckmas?
What day are we going to meet for this?
Do we want to try for Monday?
Yeah, sure.
Let's go for Monday.
Like Christmas Eve is a weird thing.
Yeah.
You want to be with family.
I'm not going to be in town anyway, so. Decided to finish off the beer.
Why not? Like all of it?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish the 12-pack. Where's the bottle opener? Give me the fucking bottle opener, kid.
He totally went into stepdad mode. Yeah, I'm gonna drink this whole fucking 12-pack. Where's the bottle opener, you little shit?
Stan, can you get me a beer? Anyway.
Go tell your mother to get fucking dinner ready.
Pizza again?
Jesus Christ.
All right. This is definitely triggering somebody. We need to stop now. So if you like the two of us
for some
fucking reason, I don't understand you. But thank you nonetheless.
Yeah.
If you haven't already, check us out on Facebook and on Twitter. You can follow us and share our episodes with your friends on those formats. You can also kind of do the same thing on Libsyn and iTunes. Subscribe to us on those services. And
we'll show up every week.
Those have shareable links, too.
They do.
The wonders of modern technology. So tell your friends that this is a thing you like, and maybe they'll like it, too.
For some reason.
For some utterly ineffable reason. So until next week, happy Death Metal December, everyone. I'm Kayle.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.